Hi, I'm Jeremy.
I'm AJ.
It's time. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Times, and we move on to our first story of today, which is kind of a throwback to last week where we talked about the FBI and Eastern Bloc countries clamping down on internet scammers who were rerouting DNS through their servers and making bogus ad revenue and blah, blah, blah. Made off with like $14 million just by, infecting a few computers with stuff. But the reason that the FBI didn't fully, just shut everything down was because everyone's internet who was infected would have just immediately shut off. Well, they have finally just shut off their temporary servers that were keeping everyone's internets afloat who were infected, because they figured they gave several months of information, and all of a sudden, if you were not informed, you are now in the dark and probably not able to watch us, which is very sad. But thank you for being intelligent enough to be clean, and we move on.
Next story, also a little bit of a throwback. The Amazing Spider-Man movie has actually made a little bit more money than we talked about last time. It has, blown up the weekend with $65 million in the opening weekend and $140 million on its first 6 days. As we talked about before, it opened on Tuesday. So
that is nothing to sneeze at.
I personally think they actually thought this through. Open it on a Tuesday, give people, an idea of what it actually is.
Create the buzz during the week.
Exactly. And make people realize this is not just a reboot. This is, a correction. I actually talked to my... Yeah.
Sorry, Toby.
Yeah. I talked to my best friend who is, like, the biggest movie guy of all time, and he has nothing bad to say about it, which is amazing. So...
He's kind of a movie snob. I'm going to tell you that right now. But movie snobs know their movies. And speaking of movies that are going to break records, Dark Knight Rises just released a 13-minute long behind the scenes of the upcoming movie, which comes out on July 20th, and I'm going to cry, and it's going to be a great day. So go watch the featurette. It's down in that article that we are linking to right down there. Please, it is so great.
All right, also, last bit of throwback here. We talked about how Louisiana isn't going to be opting in on Obamacare. Well, Texas isn't going to be for the most part either. Rick Perry came out and said, quote, "I will not be party to socializing health care and bankrupting my state in direct contradiction to our Constitution and our founding principles of limited government."
Yeehaw!
Now, I have a lot against Rick Perry, but not this part.
Yeah. See, he does this kind of thing where he stands up and all those people are like, Texas needs to secede. He pacifies them with stuff like this, but at the same time, it really makes me happy when he does stuff like this, because that part of me that says Texas is the greatest state in the nation because it was its own nation before anyone else was their own nation. It makes me really glad. But also some things that don't make me glad are things like the government and their extension of unemployment benefits. They have had oversight of about $14 billion in 2011. This being from paying more than they're supposed to, from people filing fraudulently, from people just oversight where an employer or a person or the agency itself did not file things properly, and so people were continuing to get checks when they didn't need to get checks. But altogether, that's $14 billion. Now, there's a lot of people who want to criticize us for causing warfare and not sneezing at how much money we spend on warfare and, complaining about how much more money we spend on healthcare. Well, this kind of stuff is the reason, because this kind of oversight leaks into all other things that we do. Yes, we spend way too much on war. That's because we overpay way too much. We overpay way too much in unemployment. We overpay way too much in healthcare if we do this.
And in somewhat unrelated news, France is going down the toilet.
Well, no, it's not going down the toilet. It's just going nowhere.
Right. Well, when you're selling bonds at negative interest rates, I think there's a problem. The French president, the new one, has come out and said that last year France had no growth at all. It was just completely stagnant. Since it is the #2 economy in Europe, things aren't looking so good.
Speaking of things not looking so good in Europe, the UN, which is primarily composed of Europe, has decided they want to put forth a arms treaty resolution where apparently everyone who signs it will have to get tougher on the guns in their country. Well, as much as America loves to be controlled when it comes to their guns, I'm pretty sure that our Senate is going to fight this pretty hard, even though, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are all like, yeah, UN, let's be buddies. What's up? Honestly, these are things that are, like, I'm going to say fundamental to the United States culture, is that we are allowed to own reasonable weaponry for ourselves. Those people that own, fire-breathing automatic Gatling guns, that's a little extreme. Go Montana. But, we need to be able to, I want to own a 45 caliber pistol that I can fire, boom, 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 and take out an intruder in my house. Is that so wrong? And now to blood.
Blood. I actually do like to give blood. I just hate needles. But it turns out there's a lot of people out there, this is news to me, that cannot give blood simply because of their sexual orientation. Gay men specifically.
Yes. In America specifically.
I didn't know this, but since the AIDS epidemic started, gay men have not been able to give blood at all, and they're not taking a look at this again and saying, this may not be, exactly correct. We do have tests now that can, check for it, that kind of stuff. And do we really need to have a complete ban on a section of people that really want to give blood? Even China's taken a kind of look at this and has actually lifted a ban on lesbians giving blood. So I don't agree with the choices, but if you want to give blood and save a life, do it, because we're on a low right now. We need it.
To quote a representative from Illinois, Mike Quigley, he said, "This is a matter of life and death, and we're turning away over 50,000 healthy men who want to donate blood. A straight person who has unsafe sex with multiple partners can give blood, and that creates a greater risk than a gay person in a monogamous relationship." And again, as much as I don't completely agree with the lifestyle choice, you know what? If they're healthy, if they're good enough people to give blood, let them. Absolutely. And now on to our last story of the day. For those of you who don't know, my mother was a very, very good teacher for about a decade and a half, and is now reaping her just desserts of not having to deal with crazy teenagers anymore. But very recently, the Teacher of the Year was announced, Rebecca Milwaukee from the LA County school system, who, by the way, that area, any inner city school, every teacher that can teach in that environment deserves a medal, by the way. Yeah. But this woman is pretty spectacular. She has this about 20-minute speech, and we're linking you to it because I know you have 20 minutes to spare, be honest. And it's worth taking a look at, because this is what an educator should be. This is how an educator should feel about their education, the education of their kids, and it's going to be a brighter future with teachers like this. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy about this, and I wanted to end on a happy note today. So thank you so much for watching The Extraordinary Times. If you felt educated a little bit, we're doing our job right. Like it over here, select the add to favorites over here, subscribe if you haven't already. All of that really helps us out, and share us with your friends so they can do the same thing, because it will really help us a lot. So thank you so much. That's AJ.
That's Jeremy.
And these are always and still extraordinary times. Be aware.
I'll say that was weak.
That was super weak. Yes, baby. Accurate representation of things. If I could even talk properly.